students. I hope you all are doing fine. So we are coming out on the YouTube as a Grey Skin Academy. We have started this channel specifically for all you guys, yes, who are aspiring aestheticians, who are working into the beauty industry, who want to work in the beauty industry, and they want to keep their learning journey as it is. But at the same time, there are multiple aestheticians out there. They are doing certain treatments but not getting a complete come out or the results, and they want something for themselves to keep learning the new advancements, keep learning all the basics again in a quick revision time and get the correct proper knowledge. Then we are here for you. Yes. So if you are looking out for some genuine, authentic, knowledgeable kind of a YouTube channel, then this is for you guys. So do subscribe us and put that bell notification icon to a hit, because whenever we upload a new video, whenever the knowledge flows, it reaches to you guys as well. In today's video, we are not going to extend it a lot because we are starting from a very basic topic, which every aesthetician or a cosmetologist or a person who is related to aesthetic or the beauty industry, they know about it. That is your skin anatomy. So once you don't know about it, or if you don't know about it, I'm very sorry. You may be lacking, or you may be not getting the appropriate kind of results which should be there. And you may be lacking out at certain points which needs to be covered up. We are here for that. If you are actually doing, see, even if you are doing a facial, even if you are doing a microneedling or a laser or any of the treatment in our setup, we need it to reach the proper layer. We need to reach it for the proper cause of the problem, and we want to eliminate it so that the kind of result which we think or which we have a possibility or which we actually tell or promise the client that this is how we are going to approach it. So we reach to that and we actually have it. And for that, we need to understand the basic anatomy of the skin. Yes, the skin which you see over here is not just this much. Once it is taken into the transverse region, it goes inside to it. Now, if we are talking about the skin, skin is divided into three main layers. Yes, three main layers means one, epidermis, second, dermis, and last one is called hypodermis. These three layers play all the magic around any of the treatment for the skin. How? We will discuss in a little detail for them. Now, when we are talking about the epidermis, epidermis is basically this top layer of the skin, which not just protects the skin or protects the body, it basically acts as a thermoregulator. It basically not just help to get a new rejuvenated skin and exfoliate the dead skin out, but the epidermis also gives the color to the skin, correct? So if we are targeting pigmentation, or if we are targeting dark spots, or if we are targeting the darkness, tone of the skin, then yes, my friends, this layer is going to come very, very handy to you, because you need to work on this layer to eliminate any such kind of problems, correct? Now, when we are talking about epidermis, you need to understand that this epidermis basically again is divided into 5 layers. Yes, this thin layer again is divided into these 5 layers. Can you see it over here? If you look over here, so it is divided into these 5 layers. Okay, now these 5 layers, if we name it, okay, if we want to name it, so number 1 goes the corneum layer, or we call it as a dead skin. Then we get the lucidium layer. Then we have granulosum, spinosum, and basal. Now, when we are talking differently about each layer, what is the difference? Now, the number 1 layer, which is the corneum layer, it is a dead skin layer. It needs to be kept exfoliating Otherwise, what happens? Have you seen on the skin of the clients, when the dead skin doesn't fall off, or the keratin, when this doesn't move along or doesn't go out, it forms a small tiny bumps on the skin, specifically around the cheek area or on the neck area, which are called as like a pearls or like a melia kind of a situation, where the skin, it get entrapped, and that becomes a more thickened kind of a skin layer. And yes, the face also appears very dull. Now, so this has to actually exfoliate and give you out a new skin every time the skin cycle completes, correct? Now, next comes the lucidium. Now, lucidium is the layer which is actually a little thickened layer. Now, this layer is not present all over the body. No, it is majorly present on the palm and sole of the palm and the sole of the feet. Why? Because from the feet we have to work on certain kind of like floors. It can be cemented, it can be wooden, it can be rocky, it can be on the grass, it can be on the soil, everywhere. And your body still needs to feel it, but it should not get, I'll say, damaged because of that friction, because of that excessive pressure. For that, this lucidium comes handy. So with our hand, we do the multifactorial things. We actually perform a lot of, I'll say, work. We even write for hours. We even, if I say, many people do cooking in the kitchen, many people do farming, many people do a lot of things. So they need certain kind of protective layer, which not just keep my hands, my fingers, my thumbs safe, but at the same time doesn't let go out the feeling sensation. So this lucidium layer comes handy, and in between it acts as a rigid and as a, I'll say, cushion comfort, which do not get rupture because of the friction and excessive pressure as per. Now, next comes the granulosum and spinosum. Now, this granulosum and spinosum make the major part of this epidermis layer. Here, there are different kind of cells. Can you see the shape? Different shapes of the cells. Now, these shapes and sizes of the cell actually changes from base to up. Can you see? They are in a cuboidal form, then they come into a rectangle, then more thinner, and it keeps on moving that way. Why is it happening? Because as the skin is gradually coming outside, or as it coming towards the dead skin layer, the nucleus in between gets deleted off. So that is the reason whenever you touch or whenever you it is not very painful until and unless you do not scratch, pain, or stab it up. Okay, so just with the normal touch, you won't feel any kind of a pain, and these are basically the dead skins. So when these are dead cells, they cannot have a living entity which is a nucleus into them. Fine. That is the reason that when they start coming up, the cell size change and it comes as a dead skin layer at the top layer. Now, in between this granulosum and spinosum, they are continuously producing a protein which is called as keratin. Keratin is actually a protein which is being built by them, which actually becomes like a strength, or I would say a strengthening agent to the all over skin around. So this not just provides the tensile strength to the skin, but it also gives you the rigidity, it also gives you that tension, it also provides you the kind of, I'll say, elasticity, and at the same time the kind of movability as well. So this keratin not just helps you balance out the inner kind of, I'll say, the inner stability, but actually it also gives you out the external working mobility, and at the same time gives you that rigidity as well. Now, at the last, can you see the basal layer? Now, this basal layer produces one more cell. Okay, these also present one more cell which is called as melanocyte. Okay, so they not just produce one, but basically they produce keratinocyte, melanocytes, Merkel cell, and at the same time stem cells. Okay, which is produced by whom? It is produced by these basal cell layers. Okay, now can you see these melanocytes which are located on the basal cell layer? So the color which you see on your skin is actually coming out from here. So whenever we are targeting pigmentation, it is being built over here, either by overstimulation of melanocyte, or by triggering the melanocyte to produce more melanin, or by even irritating it. So it produces more and more of, I'll say, pigment. So when the pigment is released, it directly doesn't come on the surface. No, it basically leads to this cell, then to this cell, and to then, and it comes into layering to layering in this manner. So when we are fighting the pigmentation, dark spots and everything, it doesn't happen. You applied a kind of cream and it just vanishes off. No, you have removed this cells. Now from here, when this cells comes up, again the pigmentation will come. Again you have to remove. This will come. Again you have to remove. This will keep on coming and you have to remove until the cream which you are applying gets absorbed and ask the melanocyte to settle down. Till that time, the melanin which is being taken by all these cells keeps on coming upward. That is the reason that pigmentation, melasma, dark spots take extra effort and time. By the time the new cells are coming from here to here, it will not go off. So for getting the pigmentation treated, the new cells has to come up on the surface without any pigment. And for that, it may take months to a year to maybe more. Okay. Now, as we move ahead, you need to understand that melanocytes, how they basically work and why they are necessary. So, melanocytes are there to produce color. Can you see on different, they actually produce in this manner. So, why is it necessary? People who have less activity of melanocyte or produces less melanin, or even we call them as a Caucasian like people, and the Asian people, then we have Africans, then we have different variety, or we have a different tones which we tackle by a different scale. So the tones are different. The amount of melanin is different in different people. This melanin is not just some regular color which just comes up, the tone is affected and you just hate it. No, this melanin is actually protecting you. Yes. So when melanocyte produces the melanin, so melanin protects the DNA from the UV damage. That is the biggest plus point of having this melanin. Correct? Second, different skin colors are mainly due to the melanin production. Obviously, the different tones have come from this particular cell, from this particular process only. Correct? At the same time, when it is triggered, when it is aggressively made irritated, or when you use certain kind of cosmetics, certain kind of treatment, certain kind of DIYs, or certain kind of product which actually is harmful for the skin. So your body, in response of protecting you, produces the pigment. So when you are not applying sunscreen, when you are not taking care of your skin from the external factors like the pollution, dry air, maybe the sun rays, maybe the different kind of variety of seasons, when you are not able to take care of your external skin, from internally the melanin gets triggered to protect it, and for that it produces melanin. And then we say we got the sun damage, we got this, got that, because you irritated the skin, and to protect the skin, melanocyte produces a lot of melanin. So if you don't want that, don't irritate your skin, correct? Now as we move ahead, next layer which comes, now this actually sums up our epidermis. So till now we have discussed 3 layers of the skin, which is epidermis, dermis and hypodermis. Then the epidermis we discussed in detail. It again divides into 5 parts, and in that the last layer, which is the basal layer, have a different types of cells in which melanocyte actually comes very handy for us when we are associated with the beauty industry, because we need to target that layer to help in reducing the pigmentation and different kind of pigmentary changes. Correct? Now the next layer comes the dermis layer. So when we are talking about the dermis layer, now this layer has a little thickness. So different body parts have different thickness of the, I'll say, the skin. Fine. See, soles and feet have a different reason, lucidium also, and the rest of the skin. So that is why they have a more thicker skin layer. Comparatively, on the body part or on the skin, on the neck, on this, they have a different layering of the skin, only because of the reason this dermis layer. So this dermis layer can be thick in some people, can be thinner in some people, and because of that, many of the people we have seen where it is in a thinner constant, you can see the skin of the client also appears very thin out. You can see the vascular, I'll say the changes, tiny capillaries comes out. You can see it specifically around the eyes, around the lips, on that area. Some people have a thickened skin. So when you perform different treatments for them, so their skin can easily tolerate it. So we call them as matured skin and sensitive skin. So in that sense, whenever we are trying to give out some treatment to the client, we always focus how is the epidermis, how is the dermis, what is the major problem, what is my target thing. All those things has to be kept into the mind, correct? Now this dermis layer, when we are talking about, it's a hub. It's a hub of a lot of things. Specifically, lot of collagen fibers, which keeps your skin tight, which gives your skin a more youthful appearance. And then we have a lot of blood vessels, correct? Now, as we move ahead, these fibroblasts, which is a basic, very prominent cell present into the dermis layer and is responsible for producing collagen, elastin, and even the hyaluronic, I'll not say the hyaluronic acid specifically, but hydrates the skin as per. Okay, so when we do different kinds of treatment, like when we trigger the fibroblast, more and more of collagens are built. And how we can trigger the fibroblast? By any lasers, by the microneedlings, by MNRF, by different treatments. So these become like a, I'll say the heat triggering or mechanical triggering. Because of that, fibroblast gets triggered and it produces a lot of collagen and elastin to give your skin that youthful, elastic, stretchy, and a more plumpy appearance. Correct? Now, as we move ahead, you need to understand that in the dermis, we have a lot of skin appendages as well. Example, we have hair follicle, we have sebaceous gland, we have sweat gland, and obviously the nails are attached to it at the phalanges. Now, when we are talking about hair follicle, it is embedded in the dermis layer. Its follicle, its root is in the dermis layer, and then it pokes out to the epidermis, through the epidermis to the external world. Now, associated with it is a sebaceous gland, which produces oil and keep the skin nourished. At the same time, keep the hair also nourished out. And do you know, if this oil keeps on producing, and if this hair blocks it over here on this area, if it blocks it over this area, you can have acne. Do you know? Okay, so this can be a physiology for the acne as well. But we will discuss acne in the acne chapter. Now, we move ahead. Now, next comes the sweat gland. So, yes, humans have a gland specifically to regulate the body temperature, to actually help it keep the body warm or keep the body cool in the different kind of weathers as per. Okay, and that actually maintains the internal organs and keep them in a more safer zone. Then comes the nails. Obviously, at the phalanges or at the longer append, you are ended with the nails. Now, nails again are dead, but they are associated. Their bed is associated below with the, I'll say the finger bed, and that is actually quite vital. So we need to pay a little extra care when we have nails around. If you want to keep the nails bigger, keep them clean, keep them shaped. And yes, if you want, you can keep the shorter nails as well. It's up to you. Okay. Now, what are the different skin functions actually? See, why I'm discussing it now? Reason, first of all, we understood the layers. We understood what appendages are there. And now it gets easier to understand the whole function of it. Number one, protection. Obviously, from the environment, from the external, there are multiple pathogens out there. There are multiple dust particles, particles, and what not is roaming around. And to protect my internal self from all this causative problems, my skin is protecting me. Second comes body regulations, temperature regulation. If you understand goosebumps, okay, so whenever I'm feeling cold, whenever I feel fear, or whenever I feel threatened, what happens? My body wants to keep me or my brain focused. So what happens? My hair, these hair actually gets upright. Because of what? Because of a muscle which is attached to it. Okay, there's a muscle which is attached to it, which gets triggered because of all these issues. When you're feeling cold, when you're feeling fear, when you feel threatened, this gets a, I'll say, a sign from the brain towards it, and it actually gets upright. All your pores get closed up. So when they are all closed up, your heat is insert. Your heat is inside, it gets trapped. So you don't feel cold a lot and you wrap yourself. Okay. In the fear again, you get more focused, you have got all the goosebumps and you are more alert. And when the situation comes handy, you get relaxed out and everything comes back to normal. So this is how the skin and the body functions. Now next, it shows the sensation. Even if you are standing with the head back on yourself, but if I touch something somewhere or if I touch something at the back, it is going to give me a feel. So that sensation, that feel is because of a lot of neural transmitter things or a lot of neurons which are running across the whole skin and the body. Correct? Then comes the immune defense. Yes, it acts as an immunity, it acts my defense. It is fighting a lot of bacteria. Do you know there are a lot of bacteria which is sitting on your skin and they're surviving regularly. But still you are not feeling sick, you are not all the time on the bed, you are not sick all the time because it acts as an immunity, it acts as a defense, it fights and it keeps everything balanced. Correct? Then comes the vitamin D production. Yes, when you move around in the sun or you sit on a sun, keeping your back, especially the larger area, but yes, obviously the clothes can't be on. So wherever the UV or wherever the sun rays touch them or the skin, it is converted. Okay, so skin has a mechanism of converting that ultraviolet, I'll not say the ultraviolet, but that vitamin D into the most absorbable form in the body, and it is done in the skin level. Last but not the least, water balance. Obviously, it is maintaining my hydration. Otherwise, if it not, then how much water should I would be drinking? It would just evaporate off. Think about the people who live near the equator. They live all the time near the weather which is more warmer. So how much water they are keeping themselves, hydration they are keeping to themselves, but it evaporates. So it doesn't happen. So we need to keep it in a proper zone and the skin does it for them. Now, which treatments actually work where, if we are talking about? So we'll start with a facial. So facial works on the epidermal layer. Okay, and that too also maybe till the granulosum or spinosum layer somewhere. Okay, and may barely touch the basal layer. Then we have chemical peel. It may touch till the basal layer or even maybe the top layer of the dermis layer. Then we have microneedling. As per the depth, I can go from epidermis to dermis. Then we have PRP, or we call it as plasma. This can go to, I'll say, the mid path of the dermis layer. Then we have MNRF and the laser, which can actually hit till as deep as possible depending on its frequency and intensity. So, my dear friends, it becomes this responsibility of an aesthetician and a person who is actually related to this industry, that they need to be thorough with these kind of the basic knowledge. Because whenever you plan a treatment, you plan a depth. Whenever you plan a treatment, you plan a result. Whenever you plan a treatment, you are actually giving a hope to the client. So that hope needs to be correct. You need to be educated and you need to have an ample amount of knowledge from basic to advanced to deal with all kind of problems related to the aesthetic issues. Correct? Now, as we move ahead, the common mistakes which we keep or make. Wrong peel depth. We don't understand where the peel is working. I don't know about the depth. We just did it. No, you can't do that. You need to know at what percentage, at what time, how much deep it can go. And that is how you plan good results. Okay, and not just randomly or by bluffing. Then comes the wrong needle depth. Obviously, when you chooses wrong needle depth or when you chooses, I'll say, the wrong laser intensity, you create post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation instead of treating it. You cannot have a proper consultation if you don't have a knowledge. You cannot consult and at the same time convert the client when you don't have a knowledge. Correct? Now, ignoring the Fitzpatrick scale. Now, this is something which requires its own class, and we'll definitely get back for it. So, you need to subscribe us so that whenever we come up with the new topics, you always get the correct knowledge and the correct way of learning. Correct? So, in the Fitzpatrick, basically we understand about the scale of the tone, and the different tones have different treatment, and the treatment cannot be repeated. The intensities has to be different. Even the depth of the needle has to be different. And at certain point of time, certain treatments cannot be done at a higher scale. Correct? Now, ignoring the skin barrier. This is the major issue in today's time which people ignore. Many of the clients would walk in to you with damaged skin barrier already because of certain kind of gimmicks, certain kind of products, certain kinds of DIYs. They have seen it somewhere, they have applied it on, and now they don't understand what has gone wrong. You need to evaluate, you need to consult properly, you need to check properly, you need to tell them that what is the major issue. And yes, this can be one of them. And if you do not treat this up, whatever the treatment and skincare you do, it will always end up in irritation only. That is the reason skin barrier is actually a very important part in the skin journey. Correct? Now, at the last, we'll just give some takeaway points for you guys. What we understood in this whole video, please understand that if you are aspiring to become an esthetician, or if you're already practicing, or if you are not able to understand that everything I'm doing correctly, everything I'm doing perfectly how it has been told, but I'm not getting my answers, start from here. Reason being, because this will give you from a very basic idea, and it will help you build your knowledge system. It will help you build where I may be causing a problem to myself or to the other people. And when you build that, when you create that knowledge system, it always gives out the best of the results at the end. Never forget the basics. Fine? Now, obviously, we learned about the 3 layers, we learned about the 5 epidermal layer, we learned about the collagen and elastin. At the same time, we learned about the fibroblast, which produces collagen and elastin. And how do they trigger? By mechanical, chemical, or maybe the heat irritation, correct? Then melanin, it is so important, and especially now when the UV damage, external damage has gone very high and the things are not getting treated very easily. Blood supply, we understood about the whole concept that only this thing doesn't matter, this does. So until unless you do not go into the depth, you are not being, or you are not getting raised in this field. So you need to go into the depth to rise to the high. Okay, I hope this was helpful, and I hope if you want to continue being a professional, you will learn and you will actually make your client educate about it and then proceed for the treatment. We will super soon meet again for a new topic with a new topic. And if you have any suggestions or if you want something, you can also leave down a comment. And if you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell icon. Till then, bye everyone. Take care.